Good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
So, welcome back to today's session. And I hope what is the topic which I've chosen for today, which is called Empathy Matters Why Understanding Others Count. Why do you think empathy matters? If you may ask, who has joined in live or who's watching this later, comment it down below why empathy matters or why understanding others is the need of the hour. Anyone who likes to share your perspective before I go forward? Or what is your thought on this? For the viewers who's listening to this later, just give it a pause and think about it. Why does it even matter?
I think because we live in a society and like in a family or friends, and I think we all
Okay.
need to understand. I think
Yes, because the people comes to you for to share with you something for different reasons. Many a times people just want a ear. Maybe that is the reason. For different reasons, people come to you. But if we ourselves are not empathetic with ourselves, what will happen? You cannot expect that from other people because we live in a world that's more connected than ever. Yet many of us feel unheard, unseen, and misunderstood. Isn't it? Many of us have this, or many of us feel insecure because of this. Just because you feel that you have not been understood, or people start invalidating what you say. Many a times happens with most of us, and because of this, mental issues arises. Empathy isn't just a buzzword or something or nice to have. It's a core human skill which connects us, it heals us, it transforms us. Isn't it? It can do things, but we should know where to use empathy and what can we do about it. But in today's session, we are going to find out actually what empathy is, why does it play a vital role in personal and collective well-being, and what gets in the way of empathy, and how we can cultivate more of empathy as a skill in our day-to-day life. So let's understand as to what empathy is. Empathy is nothing but is an ability to understand and share the feelings of each other, or feelings of one another who's along with you. Say, for example, you're sitting with a sick person. Do you show sympathy or do you show empathy, which will boost the confidence of that person? Because we cannot take away their pain or we cannot experience their pain, what they're experiencing, but we can understand as to what they are feeling and accordingly communicate to them. So, what exactly empathy is? There are different kinds of empathy, which I'll bring to understanding that. First is your cognitive empathy, the ability to understand what someone else is thinking. And there's something called, many times we get into this zone. Compassionate empathy, understanding, feeling, and wanting to help someone else or help yourself. There's a saying that until if you don't help yourself, no advice what you give to yourself or to the world, until you cannot help yourself, no one else can. Think of it like this. If a friend loses his job, what do you do at the first place? You help them to realize why they are upset, which comes under cognitive empathy. Then you understand or you get into the feeling of, to feel their disappointment. That is your emotional empathy. Then you have your compassionate empathy, where you might inspire that other person through telling them stories over a tea or coffee, or over a table of dinner, or it can be a meal, or help them to update their skill sets, update their resume or your biodata or your CV, which we call it. Or is there any skill set or anything which they have to update from their end so that they can get a better job? Isn't it? So this is what we do. And also at the same time, we learn to put ourselves in someone else's shoes, which even we haven't walked their path, which we start connecting it with later. So why is empathy important? It builds and it strengthens relationships. People who feel heard are more likely to trust and open up. If you don't, it builds over time, not over a night. It takes time. And it's not very easy to open up with anyone and everyone you see around you. And also, it reduces conflict because empathy helps to reduce or de escalate misunderstanding and promotes compromise. The minute you start understanding what other people is feeling. But before you start doing this, first understand what is empathy according to you and how do you express it for yourself and people to others. Because in today's world, people needs to be heard because great leaders, great personalities, before they start even speaking, they listen because listen and silent are made up of the same words. If you want to be a good leader, first you'll have to be a good listener so that you can take charge of or those who in charge of you with you, and they connect and they care, which brings us to which will improve your mental health. It helps to build connection. It helps to build connection as well as handle loneliness. Many people face this today. Even our brains are wired for empathy. When you start, say for example, if you mirror neurons fire in your brain, when we see someone else experiencing pain or joy, we start resonating with it. And that is the foundation of emotional resonance. What you see, you start feeling. Empathy is not a luxury, it is a necessity for the time, or it's a need of the hour, which I call say it as. So, the one of the tasks which I would give you all of you to do is that try being empathetic to yourself for now. You don't need to be harsh with yourself because you're a human being but not a robot, which we all need to understand. Many a times we end up overworking, many a times we end up overdoing things not required. Now let's understand as to what are the barriers to empathy or what gets in the way of empathy. When you start judging or having bias with people, we judge people before even they understand or we understand them. We assume instead of asking. Digital disconnect. How do we express empathy through message or through over a call? Because of this, in the world of text and likes, we miss tone, facial expression, and even a pat in your shoulder or a pat at your back, which leads to emotional fatigue when this is not being done properly. Constant exposure of what other people are feeling, especially in a in a helping profession. But having empathy or leading to compassion, that can reduce fatigue or it leads to the fatigue. You may get tired just because of that. Your busy schedule, your distractions, many a times we endlessly scroll on our phones, but we at the end of the day, even after that 8 hours of sleep, we are feeling burnt out because we put our energy into something which we thought which will give us rest, but unfortunately it has not given you rest. It has drained your energy. So recognizing these barriers is the first step towards removing them. That is what I keep telling in my every session, that to any transformation begins with self-awareness, identifying your triggers, becoming aware of them. Because emotions does not come out of a glue. It comes with a thought. It comes from your past or it comes from your future. When it comes from your future, it becomes anxiety. When it comes from your past, it's either stress or regret or tension. Can be. But how can you start cultivating or how can you start making this as a habit, using empathy in your daily life? Empathy can be learned, but here is how you can start. Practice active listening. Don't interrupt when someone is talking to you. Don't, practice or rehearse your reply. Just listen. Maybe ask open-ended question. Try asking, how did that make you feel? Instead of, why did you do that? Imagine from their perspective or put yourself in their shoes, or even just a short pause to world builds in understanding. Then come back was like, you're feeling frustrated because you should know when to use but, you should know when to use because the sentence before you use because becomes important, but with but, the sentence after you say but becomes important. So you need to know when to use but and because. And spend time with diverse people, which expands your compassion or exposure to a lot of situations, because there are numerous behaviors, characters of people today out in the world. So the first thing is building your emotional stability or your mental agility, which we call it. Your daily habits build your empathy muscle. Start being empathetic to yourself. It's like going to your emotional gym and coming back. So what you practice, what gets built. You're building your body muscles get built. But at the same time, if you're not working out, what will happen? You're just hurting yourself and with your health, which you cannot do anything else. So understand that empathy needs to be it's an understanding, it's a feeling which you respond to somebody else emotion. You empathetic to yourself, because that matters more than anything in any relationship or in a leadership position or in a community and even your mental health. See, we all face barriers with the intention that, or with the mindset that we can overcome them. I'm not saying you have to do 10, 15 things. That's not the idea here, but start small. One conversation by actively listening, give it a pause, or one act of care that, go back today, whoever is watching this live or who's watching this later, try this. Go back today and just ask someone that, with a smile in your, how was your day? If they're having a conversation with you, listen to it completely. Because you never know, a smile today can change someone else's life altogether. So let's start being empathetic. So if I have to leave all of you with this one thing, which is that before today ends, practice one intentional act of empathy. Really listen, ask, reflect, and connect. If this session has helped you, or if you like this, share it with someone who needs to hear this. On this shorter session, only one thing I wanted to uh, uh, nudge before we call this as a session is that let's build more an understanding world together, because every story is different. Or if you have a story which you want to share, an empathy story, you can even share it right now, or later you can comment it down below also, as however you're comfortable with. Because emotional intelligence is something which needs to be practiced. We give a lot of importance to physical health, but I don't think many of us don't even give that kind of importance to our mental health, to the kind of physical health attention which we give to. So that's how it is. Very simple hack I'll give you. Breathing exercise or breath work, which we call it as. You can just do that. Just calm your breath. You have the time to think for yourself. This is something I would urge everyone to do this. Any questions? If no questions, then I would call this a session, because see, I don't keep my sessions very, elaborate, because just practicing that one or two things itself is difficult. So I just keep my sessions short and crisp so that you can come back with your questions, or we can deal with this later on a one-on-one call, or whatever, however you're comfortable with. Thank you.
Thank you, Darshani. It was really wonderful to address that. And the homework that you have given is also very good. So I'm going to take on that. Thank you.
Yeah. Rajbin ma'am has just joined in. Looks like.
Yes.
Good evening, Rajbin. I think you just missed a fantastic topic which I just finished.
Yeah. So, yeah, so the topic was about the, what you call it,
It was about empathy, dear.
empathy for me is about putting ourselves into other people's shoes and people putting themselves into our shoes.
Hmm.
So, so I see that I see that with my father, with my caregiver, with my all my colleagues, but I don't see that with my siblings. So how do I overcome overcome that? I joined it late because I know all about empathy now. So I practice it every day in my life. But I have this one question before you end.
This is something you can try, but I don't know if it's going to work. For once, give a no reaction day. Don't react. Always be quiet. And after a couple of hours, go back and ask them, how did it make you feel? They'll say irritated just because you didn't give us a year. This is how I'll also feel. So give them
No,
that no reaction day and
no,
come back with your
no,
thoughts
because
on that.
my caregiver's niece is also like that with my mom. Sometimes she answers back, but sometimes I don't react.
Mm.
But she's okay now. So I
Yeah.
think people have their own problems, and we need to empathize with them.
See, only one simple thing, Rajvin, is that do not try to control what is not in your control. You can be empathetic, but not everyone needs a solution. Sometimes it just need that here to hear them out completely.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Um. Yeah. So Shabana, we will cover this empathy and motivation. Um. With Nahan this Thursday.
Yeah,
Empathy, motivation, and laughter yoga.
yeah, great. So if you can send me that, it would be great, and we can talk about it later. So,
Yeah. Okay.
yeah,
So thank you. Thank you, Dashni, for a good session today.
thank you, Rajvi.
Thank you so much.
It was really wonderful. Thank you.
I really had I really can relate to all of this because I am able to put myself into other people's shoes, and hopefully others can put it.
Yes,
Works both ways, you know.
yeah, definitely.
Okay.
Hands to clap. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Rajvi.
Thank you, dear.